guest, though. Instagram is 10 years old, for good or for bad. And I say that because there are plenty of people out there who probably are so addicted to it, they might wish that it never existed at all. There are plenty of people out there too who say it's been a positive addition to their life, and they've actually found real companionship. They've found an understanding. They found a community on the social media platform. Well, we're joined now by life coach Rakesh Rana to discuss a decade of Instagram and how it can be used for good and for bad, and maybe how we can have a better relationship with the platform if we do struggle with it. Welcome to Times Radio, Dr. Rakesh.
Hello, Kate. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Look, many of us have tuned into the Netflix documentary Social Dilemma, and that focuses on how social media networks influence us, how they manipulate us, how their main objective is to get us to spend time on the platform, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Snapchat, Facebook, whichever it is. So a lot of us are drawn to these platforms, and a lot of us are being manipulated to be drawn to remain on those platforms as well.
That's right. I mean, the most valuable commodity these days is human attention. And I think that's what they're driving us to do. All of these social media platforms have this scroll feed that you just can't get yourself off. You go in to do one thing and, an hour later, you're still scrolling and you're still clicking away. You haven't really moved away from it.
Now, the actual app, let's just indulge in a bit of history. It was launched on October the 6th, 2010 by Americans Kevin Systrom and Mike Krieger. And it was launched as a photo-sharing social network. So that has remained, really. And it was, one of the primary social media sites to be specifically designed for smartphones. It doesn't work actually great on a normal desktop or laptop computer at all, does it? It works best.
No, exactly. In fact, it kicked off because I think it was the iPhone at the time had all of a sudden became a very good snapper for photos. So it was ideal. So the growth of Apple iPhones at the time came hand in hand with Instagram.
And it was the first application we'd seen where we could apply a filter. It was very exciting, wasn't it? We could take a photo and make it look better.
Exactly.
And therein lies some of the issue, because, if I take a picture of myself and I put a filter on it, I don't look then like I do in real life. So that if someone takes a picture of me in real life, I'm disappointed because I don't think I look my best self. But that's only because my idea of my best self is based on a filter and not on reality.
Exactly. And not only that, you're also comparing yourself to others that are on Instagram as well. You're comparing yourself to others that have also applied filters, so you're getting that double negative loop, let's say. So you're trying to improve yourself, but also because you're comparing yourself to others.
And what's this doing to us?
Well, what we've seen, there's been plenty of reports, plenty of studies that have been carried out, and especially amongst the youth. I mean, there's been studies between, from ages 11 to late teens. It's had significant impact on mental health, self-esteem, just shaming as well, body shaming. So we've seen all of this, and it's been very prevalent amongst the youth. But as you said at the top of the story, there's been some positives as well. The appreciation of the communities, and it's actually allowed people to put themselves out there. However, it has had a huge negative impact, and I guess that's where I come in terms of life coaching. It's, I'm not a therapist. I'm not there to help people in terms of their mental well-being, but what I do is discover what stage they're at, whether I need to refer them to a therapist or whether I can help, and whether it's something just very mild about unfollowing accounts. So sometimes it's as simple as what we take in. Something I did when we fell into lockdown, people were so much more using social media. Even myself personally found that it wasn't good for my mind, and I realised what I was consuming through feeds, so I decided unfollowing accounts. So one thing I've realised, if an account doesn't educate me, entertain me, or inspire me, I won't follow it. So it's got to be beneficial for my mental well-being. So when I work with my clients, this is something that we work on as well, something very simple, but it can have a profound effect. Okay.
What about someone who is sort of presenting with the effects of plugging into Instagram or other social media networks? What kind of things might they say to you?
A lot of the times it would be, how it's presented is, I have a goal, but I can't achieve it, or I want to be able to do something, I'm unable to do it. And as I talk through when we go through a discovery, what you realise is actually they're spending their time elsewhere. What time they could be doing something productive, actually they're consuming, and they're consuming through social media. Actually, it might not even be social media, it may be Netflix or something, but actually they're not doing what they want to be doing. And so it's trying to discover, well, what's putting them off. Maybe what they've set out to do seems impossible. So what we then try and do is break things down into smaller, manageable chunks and create an environment where they can actually go ahead and do what they want to do and not fall into the easy trap of going onto social media. So we hide the icons, possibly uninstall them, switch off notifications. We try and make the better choice the easier choice.
Okay. Brands, they engage a lot on Instagram, and that is the big success of Instagram, isn't it? Above most of the other social media sites, is that you can make your stuff look really good on Instagram. You can make pretty pictures, and then influencers come into it as well, don't they? Just talk us through the birth of that and what that does to it, because presumably if we see someone who looks a bit like us endorsing a product, it draws us in, it makes us want to buy it.
Of course. I mean, it's become an industry in its own. I think if Instagram was to go down tomorrow, there'd be quite a lot of people out of work. But, it has. Influencers come in. It's a term that didn't exist realistically before Instagram came along. But they're there. They're making money. They're promoting brands. Some are hugely successful. Some just get by. But some of the people that I speak to that call themselves influencers, they're not making a lot of money from it, but they may be getting free products. They may be getting food supplements. They may be getting clothes. So to make a living out of it, it's not for everybody, but it is something that people go on and do. But for the bigger brands, it's great. They can use people who've got followings in the millions to promote their brand, and it's been fantastic. And it has. Instagram's been a great story, and my personal use, it's for marketing as well. So I can't complain in that sense. For me, it allows me to get my brand across. And I think it's how you do it as well. I think with the bigger brands, I think if they can do it with congruency in terms of what their ethos is and what they believe in, I think that's when they go hand in hand as a good partnership.
It's also used to communicate with fans by celebrities. It's used for sharing stories and of course that medium of sharing stories through pictures, some people are really, really good at that, and some people use it as a way to connect with their following, and it also means that we address very important issues as well. And I'm thinking of Chrissy Teigen and John Legend here this week, who are left devastated by the death of their newborn son. He was it's classed technically as a miscarriage, but what we saw were very, very, very hard-hitting, very personal photographs from the hospital where Chrissy Teigen was admitted, and we saw her crying, and she almost shared the loss live with us, I suppose, charting going into the hospital. She and her husband had shared her pregnancy with their following, so people were already invested in it, and I don't know whether it's that they felt that they needed to share this because it was part of the story, or that there was something more important going on there in breaking the taboo, in opening up the conversation on something as difficult as losing a baby.
I think, I saw lots of press about it, lots of, positive about it, negative about it, that they were doing it. And it's very unfortunate, such a tragedy, the passing of Jack. But I think what it did allow, yes, it allowed people, by them sharing it, it was the idea of that community. So the people that have been in that same situation, it helped them. So in a way, there was a real positive sign of that happening. And also, it as much as negativity that also got, there was a balance of positivity as well. But the one thing that we also need to understand is that their life is on social media. So for them to be presenting this, I think some people who were negative towards it, well, actually, do you know what? Their life is always on social media. So it's not something that we would have been surprised to see. It was a sharing that, everything's been shared up to date, so why not this? To them, it's probably just normal. And they've normalised this behaviour. And this is the thing that we've seen social media do, a normalising of a behaviour that we probably wouldn't have otherwise seen. this is just one artifact of it.
Yeah, and look, they've been applauded by many people. A friend of mine who's suffered baby loss herself just said to me tonight that she finds a lot of support from social media, and that it allows access to people going through that journey. It allows them to receive support from people who've been through that journey before, and that we shouldn't underestimate the power of communities finding each other and helping each other through something like Instagram.
It is. Facebook was fantastic for it, for creating community support groups. Instagram's having it now as well. And this is what I keep going back to. It is about what you consume. It's like a health diet. If you consume the right kind of food, you're physically going to be healthier. It's the same for your mind. If you consume the right content, your mind will be healthier. So it is about finding the right balance. It's about finding what's going to be healthy for you. And that's whether it's in support groups or whether it's something just to entertain you. Unfortunately, there's too many people that possibly are following the wrong kind of accounts. And that's something that they really need to look at.
Okay, well, we'll leave that thought with our listeners at this hour. Thank you for joining us to discuss
Thank you very
10
much
years
for
for good and for bad of Instagram. Thank you, Dr. Rakesh Rana. Thank you.